Hey folks, hey, hey folks, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Let's have another question and answer. All right, I'm in my backyard. It feels like spring is here actually. There's monarchs floating around and the sun is so bright. What a good day. We're not out of the woods yet. We got 2 more months of frost, but yeah, the garden's growing really well. Diane Uplinger asks, when the first leaves appear after sowing seed, how far from the grow light should the tiny plants be? It's a good timely question. Folks will be starting spring seed soon. Yeah, I usually keep my grow light system, I usually keep my grow light system about 1 inch above my plants. I don't let them touch because I'm using fluorescents, and fluorescents get hot and they can burn, and I also like to have enough space in there to get airflow because it is a hot system. Fluorescents heat the area up to about 75 to 80 degrees typically, that little microclimate there. And if I use humidity domes, I let the light system sit about 1 inch above that humidity dome as well. And inside that humidity dome, it gets to be about 80, 85, 90 degrees, and that can dry out those little tender plants pretty quick. So I tend to not put it directly on the plants, or but about 1 inch, 1.5 inches is the closest I'll get. Sometimes I raise it up and let my plants get leggy, and here's why. In the nightshade family, with tomatoes and peppers and things like that, you want a leggy tomato if you're trying to get a strong and powerful root system, because you can just bury that thing all the way up to the leaves, to the first leaf stems, and all those little hairs on that plant will form into roots and give you a better root system. So other vegetables, yeah, I don't really worry about the legginess of it. I usually just plant them deeper. So yeah, keep enough space for airflow between your light and your seedlings and you should be fine. Tina Weiger asks, besides my figs, what other fruit trees do I have? She thinks I have a lemon tree. Yes, I have a lemon tree right here, and it's loaded down with lemons. I have these guys here. These are new citrus trees. I am going to be growing these fruit trees, these guys, in containers and keeping them small, and that's how I'm going to approach my need for fruit. Yeah, I have a ton of fig trees. I'm going to strip down my fig tree stock soon, as soon as I find out which ones I like the best. But yeah, for buying fruit, it really depends on where you live. I can't really grow apples very well here because we're a subtropical climate and apples are more temperate crop. But I can grow citrus here, and so that's what I do. When looking for fruit varieties, look for local varieties that are established in your local area. You can go to pick your own fruit farms, and oftentimes they'll sell trees too, and you want those varieties. You can start from seed, but normally to get fruit out of a fruit tree from seed, you're going to wait a long time, 7 to 15 years. A fellow fruit grower that I went to see a couple of weeks ago down in Lake Jackson told me that he was trying to create a certain kind of grapefruit, and he cross-pollinated, planted that seed, and it took 15 years for that plant to bear fruit, and it turned out to be the wrong kind of fruit. The cross didn't work. So yeah, I would suggest buying an established tree, something like these guys here, in pots, and buy from a local grower. I'm not sure in today's day, especially with citrus, if you can cross state lines very much, or if you can buy online and have them shipped to your state. A lot of states have restrictions because of the viruses that have been devastating citrus fruits across our nation. There's a prohibited movement outside of the quarantine area tag on this Kefir lime. It can't leave the state of Texas, and yeah, so buy local. And by buying local, you'll get those varieties that are already known to be established in your area. That's the only really good advice I can give you in terms of sourcing your fruit trees. Peach trees, plum trees, persimmons, citrus, all kinds of trees like that, all have different regional varieties and varieties and cultivars that are better suited to your area. So yeah, those squirrels are going out of their minds. You ever seen a squirrel fall out of a tree? I just did. Wow. Okay, I had a question from Libby Lauderdale, another fig question. Here in the Middle Tennessee, we find fig bushes, not trees. They all die back to the ground, and then they put up new stuff in the spring. They do bear fruit, but it's not hard to find. But it's hard to find ripe fruit before the frost. Is this normal? or is this just the climate? Is it normal, the wrong type of plant? What's going on there? Yeah, Libby, that's tough. When a plant dies down all the way to the ground and has to put all its energy to growing back, it's not going to have a lot of resources to bear good fruit. And figs often do better on second year growth, putting out a good flush of fruit. Figs are not really that cold hardy. There are varieties that are cold hardy, just I don't know what they are because I live down here where I can grow any fig, and so I don't really pay much attention to that. I believe there's one called the Chicago Hardy that's designed for up north, and I know that fig plants can grow up north. You may need to just keep them in containers so that you can bring them in the winter. I do know who knows though, and I'm going to send you over to PA Figs and to Ross Roddy. Those are two channels I rely on, and they grow up in the colder climates. And I believe that Ross mostly grows in containers, and he knows what varieties grow well or how you can grow figs there. Because he does it really well. Ross also sells some of his cuttings and small plants. He sells them, I think, on FigBid. I'm not entirely sure. But there are other places you can source fig trees that I also enjoy. Figbid.com is one of them. Tinkerbug Figs. Christian over at Tinkerbugs is a good resource. He's got a lot of really cool varieties, and then there is Our Figs, which is a forum, and that's where you're going to find all your fig knowledge in the world, ourfigs.com. There's often buying and selling and trading going on in the sub-forums there. So yeah, those are some sources for you, but I don't know what to suggest to you that will grow hardy in the north and not die back all the time. But go check out Ross and PA Figs, and they'll be able to answer those questions for you. Jesper Anderson wanted to know why I have raised beds if they're so low, and that's a good question. He asked, isn't the benefit of having a raised bed that you don't have to bend down as much? And I answered him, and he had not thought about this. The reason I have raised beds is twofold. First of all, and primarily, my soil here is clay. My native soil is hard clay. That's why my channel is named Black Gumbo. That's the type of clay we have here. And that clay is very hard stuff, but it's very rich stuff, and you can grow some good food in it once you break it up. What is that? 4 inches of topsoil that is easily breakable, and then you get into this clay right here, and that clay, it's like a rock. So cutting through this clay is always the challenge in this area. So I have to really garden on top of that clay. And second, I do raised beds because, well, it's easier. I don't have to work it as much, and I have more control over what goes into the soil and what the soil health is doing. I can control it better. It's like a giant container. But the benefit of raised bed gardening, and even if you're doing a shallow raised bed like I am, is that it eventually works its way down into the native soil. All the organic material you put in there attracts worms, it attracts all the biology in the soil that actually breaks up clay. They used to say you could break up clay by putting sharp sand or gypsum or sand or something in your clay. If you do that, you're just making cement, because all that clay is going to chemically bind to that sand together, and you're going to have a bigger problem than you had before. What you want to do to break up clay is to add organic material on top of it and let it naturally work its way in, and it will break up. I've gained from, I have 8 inches depth on these cinder blocks. That's not a lot of depth, but in my mature gardens over the past 5 years, I've gained between 12 to 14 inches of good depth into my formerly clay soil. Okay, last year, right here, I had a pumpkin pit, and I dug down about 1.5 feet into that hard clay and put a bunch of organic, nasty material in there. Let's dig it up now and see what that clay looks like down there. There we go. You can see the eggshells indicating we've reached the bottom, and this is the hard clay. This is the eggshell where the organic material was, and you can see all of this is former clay that's been broken up really nicely. There's a worm there, big fat juicy worm. This clay is very fertile clay, and that organic material just got down in there and worked it into this it's still clay, but it's brittle clay and it's breaking apart, and that's after 1 year. So 1 year of stuff in there. And so here's the hard clay underneath. You can see how hard that is. That's clay that was underneath our organic stuff. It will be broken down slowly if I continue to add organic material to this hole, which I plan to. I'm going to put another pumpkin pit here. Nice little bit of historical digging right there. That is black gumbo clay right there. Real hard stuff. As we've put in this new extension, I can show you my sod. My sod is black because it's made up of a lot of that clay, but over the years the grass and the roots have gone in and really helped to break it up. But if you go just under this, it's hard clay. And so I've got about 2 inches, I guess, of topsoil here, including my grass, my sod that will break down and help become part of my garden soil. But you can see I don't have much space to add soil on top, but that's all I need. I just need that, and I'll come in and put this 8 inches of soil in my bed, and it will work on this over the years. And you can see, I mean, I'm growing carrots in it right next door, so it works. Hey, thanks for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. We took a trip to the farmer's market today and discovered there's woefully little farmer in the market. There was one guy there, and he was selling produce, and he's from up on the north side of town, and some of his produce he trucked in and was you know, good stuff, but he's not growing it all. You might see me at the farmer's market here in Friendswood one of these days, promoting my channel and selling a little bit of produce here and there on the side. But yeah, we had a good day today, and it was a nice time. So yeah, great day. Thanks for hanging out with us a little bit today, and I hope I answered some of your questions. Hey, I'm running out of questions. Leave your questions below in the comment section, and I'll try to get to yours if I know the answer. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our channel. That's really helpful. And if you share our videos, that really helps us too. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.